Welcome to tonight's masterclass. As always, it is a very interesting space, this masterclass. First of all, for those who don't know me, my name is Amar. I am working as a facilitator for a few years already. And first of all, I must say that this work, it is a work that allows me to look at myself. Now it's interesting because I'm facing this screen where I see some faces and I see also my face. So the possibility to work in a retreat, it is something that always gives me the possibility to observe. And when I observe, I have many questions, because in my observation, there are many possibilities. I can observe things from many different places. And when I observe, what comes to me is the question, what am I seeing? Is what am I seeing real? Is what am I seeing not real? Can I define what I'm seeing? Can I not? And if I'm defining what I'm seeing, from which place am I really defining? In modern spirituality, there is always more the fashion to validate everything, to validate every point of view. We speak a lot about truth. Truth. What is the truth? What is the truth for you? It can be many possibilities. It can be my feelings are the truth, the way I feel. Or it can be my thoughts, what I perceive is the truth. It can be my instinct, the truth. So I can feel and decide many things, but my instinct is my truth. Or some people say their intuition is the truth. Some other one say everything is the truth. Another one says the truth is nothing. It's absolutely everything a lie. Even what I see is a lie. There is really no shirt, there is no chair. Somebody is going to tell you what is true. It is what you cannot, that truth that you cannot destroy. Like everything, what you cannot prove, the opposite is the truth. And so if you think about it, there are many possibilities what is the truth. What is the truth for you? Just take a second to feel it. Do not judge what you're thinking. Because everything what you are feeling, it is partly the truth. So maybe all the people that are here have a different opinion. And so there are many misunderstandings. The question about the truth can cause a lot of problems. Somebody says unconditional love is the truth. So how can we live in the same planet, agreeing that the truth is something else? And this is why we have a lot of confrontation about what the truth is for every person. There are a lot of conflicts about the truth. And now I ask you a question. Look at the truth that you felt. How objective it is from 0 to 100, where 100 is objective and 0 is subjective. Not so easy, eh? Not so immediate. Some of you probably can find it quite clearly, but surely some of you maybe cannot point out where is between 0 and 100. Surely some of you maybe is sure either 0 or 100 are thinking, is it 0 or is it 100? Okay, so these 10 minutes, these 5 minutes, they destroy all the times where we try to be right in our lives. Imagine all the conversation in which two points of view they are debating about being right. Imagine the hours spent in this little misunderstanding. And so we are a bit lost. Everybody have a different opinion. Everybody is so different. What do we do? And here is the point where comes a framework. What is a framework? A framework is something that goes beyond objective or not objective. I mean, the framework is an objective framework because we're talking about something that is clear, that you can define. What is a framework? If a framework is like a method. It's a certain frame. Yes? A framework can be, how can I define the temperature from water? I take a thermometer and the thermometer gives me a certain number. If I put my finger, it is a different framework. But it is something, some tool, something that I'm using to come in contact with the territory. So the framework that I'm proposing now is a framework with 3 words. And immediately when it's coming, it immediately simplifies a lot of things. So the first word is observer. The second word is territory. And the third word is map. Now we are already seeing a bit something different. It's like putting the glasses on. Certain glasses that when you look, immediately there is not so much sun anymore. Now you can already distinguish. There is a truth that is absolutely about the observer. And there is a truth that is absolutely about the territory. For example, you go to a party, with your companion, and all of a sudden, your girlfriend, starts flirting openly with another guy. So immediately, there is some feeling, something happens. And we are already creating a reality. I've seen a flirt, but that's already an interpretation. More or less, it can become more or less obvious. But surely there is the truth of the observer. And then there is the truth of the territory. The territory truth does not have really an interpretation. What the observers say, the person went there to flirt, and what the territory says is a female approached a male and started interacting. We can immediately see a different color. Of course, the observer will fight about his truth. Of course, this girlfriend will fight about her truth. And in the end, we are starting building. We have the truth of one, observer two, and we have a territory. The territory has no judgment, has no interpretation. The territory is pure, is objective, is completely open, is innocent like a fact. The fact is innocent. The observation is distorted. Distorted because it comes from out of the territory. It comes from a part that is interested in seeing something that doesn't have to do with the territory. It is something personal. It is my truth. And then we come to see really who is the observer. Is the observer an observer or it's a map? Is the observer observing from himself? But probably the observer is using a certain interpretation that he learned in the past. So if we concentrate, we can see that inside there is a map. There is a map of everything what I have learned. There is a map of everything what I have seen. There is a map of the way that I look at things. The observer is a map. And somebody is looking through the map. The map is the past. According to my life, I've created different maps with which I observe the facts, reality. And so immediately it starts to be a bit clear. So, but is the emotion the territory or it's the map? It's a territory of the map, because they are the reaction towards the territory. They are a second level of territory. That is the effect of the first one. It is already a map. So the way human link to reality through experience can start to have a certain experience, discovering, wondering, and then somehow a map is being created. There is a map defining learning all the time. First of all, because it's comfortable. It's very comfortable to be able to see reality and to have a certain archives inside me. It's extremely comfortable to go to the world and be able to differentiate. Ah, that's a tree. This is not a tree. This is a house. So there is a process of registering information. Now let's go towards what the framework is, what the map is. Imagine you are a musician and you connect with your piano, with your guitar. In the beginning, it's just pure contact. And then after some time, the intelligence start building neuronal connection with the thing that you are touching. And so all of a sudden, one creates habits guided by the ear, guided by the body, guided by the taste. All of a sudden, something is starting developing. A wonderful violinist takes the violin in the hand and he has a framework. A framework is a tool that is allowing him to take the violin and immediately to produce something fantastic. One can hear, is he a violinist? He's playing so well. Because he's practicing all of his life to improve a certain framework. And so when you are practicing all of your life to have a framework, what you are really having is you are perfecting all the time a way of mastery to relate with anything. It can be with a musical instrument. It can be in the kitchen, a cook. When goes to the kitchen, have you ever seen professional cook? Maybe master chef. When you have a great chef, you leave the chef in the kitchen. He looks 1 second the ingredients and he starts dancing. He's not even looking. There is something going on. That's not the first time. There are people that would pay a lot of money to go to study a framework with a person that is an expert in his field. Imagine Ronaldo, the football player. How many young football players would pay anything to go to learn football with Cristiano Ronaldo? Why? Because maybe they play with him football for 10 minutes and a little bit of his framework would be learned. For thousands of years, we have young painters traveling to beautiful cities, inspired by masters. They were working in their boutique. Sometimes they were completing some paintings. They were living with them. They were feeling how they relate to life. They were hearing them talk. They were absorbing. So the framework has to do with an intelligence of the relation from A and B. It's pure intelligence. It's intelligence that very quickly experience it as selects something that is valuable in a certain procedure. The value of the framework, the value of the map that you can build up in relation to everything does not have value. And still, when we are lost, we are not using the framework. Still, in some point of our life, when we are lost, we are doubting absolutely everything. Maybe many of you have experienced moments in their life when they are lost. And being lost is not really a process that is natural. It's natural for a beginner. But when one is lost completely, a cat is never lost. He's connected. He has his instinct. If a cat is lost in 10 minutes, he's going to find himself. But when the intelligence is blocked, then one is really lost. When the intelligence is blocked from many years of believing that one cannot do, that one cannot this, that one cannot that my ideas are bad, my ideas are not good enough, then all of the sudden, the intelligence starts working against itself. Before we have seen the intelligence when it started really building and creating neuronal connection from me, A, and B. Perfecting really each sensitivity. It's an intelligence that manifests through confident, clear movement. It's an intelligence that has to do with much more than the thoughts and the process of, and the cognitive process. It is an intelligence that just knows what to do. There is the framework of a doctor. For example, when you go to the doctor, he puts something in your tongue and he's looking if you have a fever. He has a framework. When you go to the Asian medicine, he's gonna touch your pulse and he's gonna tell you what is wrong with you. He has a framework. When you're going to a healer, he can look to your eyes and inside with a very big microscope, he's gonna tell you what is happening. Some people have a framework. Astrology is a framework. They use to tell you even sickness. Those are frameworks. Science is a framework. Shamanism is a framework. Sometimes it's funny because then you have some framework that is instinctive framework. And then you have a scientific framework. So and all of the sudden, then science is really just looking forward to get only what you can prove. And so it's very interesting because, science, of course, makes a selection because it's like if we take for right everything what is, then all of the sudden there is a big mess. And so science, it's a bit like this advocate. It's like, is this framework, can we really prove it? No, we cannot prove it. And so science is cutting off a lot of frameworks that one cannot prove. So some framework can make war with the other. Some framework can become fundamentalistic, even with the best of the purposes, can put in discussion, which is a fantastic attitude, but sometimes some framework put in discussion everything until the point that nothing more is left, because everything is being denied, invalidated. And so today we can say a framework cannot be sure 100%. The best of the best frameworks is probably going to get up to 97%, because the framework is not the territory. The framework can bring you in the direction. The framework, I close my eyes, I feel there is a light over there. If I need to find the door, I know that it's over there. So it can bring me to the direction. It cannot open the door. When I'm lost, the reference can bring me closer. It's not important how perfect it is, because it's going to bring me closer. So if I have it, it is a resource. So when it has 95% or 90%, a framework is entirely valuable. And so we are really looking at the possibility of being lost, of being in a certain sabotage. Because the one that is lost is not when a cat is lost. When a cat is lost, he's just very slowly gonna go on. He's gonna sit a bit in the corner and then he's gonna go on. But when the human is lost, normally there are things that go much deeper. When is it that we are sabotaging our reference for motion, for orientation? So there is a character. There is one character that is called the critic. The critic, it is a character that he has it very clear that he needs to invalidate every instinct that come up. He's like, maybe I should go over there. And the critic will say, no, it's not good enough. It's intellectual castration. The critic knows better. So inside oneself, the intelligence, the child, the curious. I think Yala is talking about slow, not Slovenish. So why do I know that Yella speaks about slow? This is my framework. A strong framework can bring us to read the territory with a great precision. A strong framework, you can see with a great clarity, which possibility ever that Yella asks me, hello, Amar, can you please speak a bit Slovenish? She knows exactly which language I speak. She's a translator. In this moment, my framework is dominating the territory. I can, with absolute 99.7% certainty, say that Yella did not ask me if I speak Slovenish. She asked me whether I can speak slower. Now, somebody can come up and say, but how about it's not true? How do you demonstrate it? And the secret is you don't demonstrate it. You don't need to demonstrate it. The framework is good for you. There is no need to talk about it. There is no need to demonstrate it. And there is no need to criticize. Unless the critic really wants to put the finger in such a point. And what is the critiker wanting to do? And why the critiker wants to touch intelligence? The critic wants to touch intelligence because, first of all, himself he's stuck. Because some people is a musician, some people is critic. The musician cannot criticize. The critic cannot play music. Because they are building a different neuronal relation with reality. The critiker is based on the problem. The musician is based on solutions. The solutions are not interested in the problem. And the problems are not interested in the solution. The critiker is not interested in the solution because deeply he wants to convince you what he experienced, that his mind is not good enough. And so he starts to castrate intellectually genuine intelligence with the excuse of the false imperfection. If I say Yella wrote slow, some critic can say, how do you prove it? Are you crazy, Amar, that she said slow? It is written Slovenish. Where is the critiker in your life? Where is he located? How is he paralyzing? Or maybe your critiker is already on holiday. He's just touching in the corner just to refine. Or is castrating. Then the sabotage, then you have the second one, that it's the effect. The person that feels I am the effect. So I'm lost and the only thing that I care is about being sad and complaining that I am lost. I look for a solution because I feel that I'm lost. And the only thing that I can is blame Putin, blame Trump, Obama, Merkel, the weather. It's emotional castration. Of false powerlessness. The victim is using a lot of nice thoughts. You are lost and you cannot do anything. You are fucked up. And surely you cannot do anything about it. But if you couldn't do anything about it, at least you would connect to the nothingness. You would connect to surrender. At least you would reconnect to your senses. But in that position, normally, the blame is busy to blame. The solution is looking for a solution. Yes? And then the third one, we have the character of the lost. And the lost is the one that in front of reality, he just says, it's so complicated that I don't even start. I don't even start, I don't even start. This discipline that I love very much is too difficult. I want to be a musician, but I don't even try. Everybody's already better than me. Me to learn, I'm so stupid, it will take ages. That's the one that is lost. Lost is existential castration with a false lack of orientation. And so those characters, they work together. The first character was the critic, Miha. So this lack of orientation, so all of these characters together, they are playing a beautiful game of paralyzing, of castration, so that you can remain lost forever. That's a fantastic sabotage. And now, when we speak about somebody that is lost, that lost his own senses, what is the lost loving to do? Well, if he has lost his own senses, he's looking outside for what he wants to do. He's just moving with, they told me, that's how one does it. Here in Germany, it's very popular, this character. That's the way you do it. That's right. That's wrong. One doesn't do it like that. One does it like that. Now, Mr. Fritz goes outside, and when he sees that his neighbor parks a bit out of the lines, he's weak. He's already gone. He's very angry. All of his life, he's demanding himself. He's compressing himself in order to do something, in order to fit, in order to avoid the judgment of being imperfect. He's trying to avoid at all costs. And when the neighbor is doing something that he considers wrong, then he can be very proud. He's not so perfect as he seems. And it is fantastic. It is very funny. Sometimes it's very heavy to live with this pressure inside. But where are you really? Where are you inside these structures? Who are you really? What do you really want? What is it that you like? How is your life showing who you are? How is life allowing you to open the treasure that you hold inside? It's not possible. Everything is absolutely blocked by a bias, by a cage. This is another cage that is creating the possibility not to live life, to find outside what is right. I find outside what is right because I completely lost all my power already. At best, I can come with my own principle. I can use principles to guide myself at best. If I use a vision, then it's already something different. If I have a vision, it may come from something mine. To commit myself to my vision transcends the possibility of being guided even by feelings. Because feelings, they are a wonderful guide, but except, if you have an objective and if you are investing, if you are seeing long term, then a feeling, just very quickly, he's just falling apart from what you are really creating. Now let's correct. So we have the critical, the victim, and the lost. The musician was part of an example. Okay. Thank you, Marco, for taking notes. I'm sure everybody is enjoying. And that's why when you are lost, it's possible that you are feeling energies that moves you, pressure, first of all. So tonight we have this beautiful phrase from our framework, from our method, which is called no method, because it's not a method that you need to do. Because if I give you a method, it's like I do the method because I need to, because supposedly I'm an idiot, or supposedly I need to learn some, I need to practice something, I need to learn something because I am a complete, waste. So I need a method to live my life, and so I commit to a certain behavior, which is mechanic, but I don't commit because of myself. I commit because of another reason. I commit because a part of myself is critical towards myself. So a part that hates myself then creates a certain catastrophe. That 2 hours per day, I do things hating it because I have self-hate. That's why in this moment, reaching illumination through meditation, it is always more complicated. Because at least Buddha, he was melting next to the tree. Now, for people, it becomes something to achieve. So do not force yourself to do anything, because if you demand yourself to comply or obey, you create pressure, guilt, judgment, and punishment. So what does it mean? Do not force yourself to do anything. So first of all, if you force yourself, let's try to see. It's actually two people. I force myself, but who is forcing who? So I have a part inside myself forcing the other. Now, mama and child live inside me. I leave the home, and the voice of the mama, they still inside. I learn to love myself through the way that I have been loved unconsciously. And so, who is really forcing who? Is it the mama forcing the child or the papa forcing the child? Even if it's the criteria that the person receives from reality, it's actually coming from that part that does not accept that my creativity, my flourishment of my soul can come from itself with its own manifestation. So if I force myself to do anything, it means that my meter that I have inside to feel, to be inspired in this moment is not anymore serving. Because I believe that I'm so lost, that I don't know anything about anything, that I'm just looking for a meter to apply because I lost the inner compass. I have self-demand because supposedly I need to do something. Maybe I need to do something to make myself better. Maybe I need to do something, with the idea of make happy somebody. Maybe it's a savior inside me. Maybe I force myself to do something because supposedly somebody needs it. In any case, it's the same type of jail, one with a better taste than the other. If you want to force yourself because of a plan, at least you have the idea that you're going to have a certain success. But imagine which kind of inspiration comes from a musician that is practicing from self-demand. Every sound that you are hearing, there is no desire to hear it. That's why so many people play, play really like this. Thank you, Rinaldo. The Wu-Wei, the law of non-forcing. It's a way of talking about flow, no? So what happens when one wants to do something because doesn't want to hurt the other? So I force myself not to be myself with the idea that I'm going to do something good for the other, except the other is in such an attachment, emotional, that he needs absolutely the opposite. He needs me to trigger him to death so that eventually he's going to have the possibility to have a life where he has more freshness, more possibilities, where his possibilities are easier, they are more accessible. And so when you force yourself to do something, you are demanding yourself. And with demand, there are all types of traps. Anxiety is the sickness of the 21st century. There is a mind that is so full of tasks, full of things, accumulation in pyramid of things that are just there to feed an ego that doesn't do anything else than destroying, sabotaging, hating, rejecting, abusing a heart of an inner child that is already far from being in contact with life, with the experience, with the mystery, with creativity, with his own space for celebration. There is always something to do for a slave. Captured in his ambition, maybe driven by moral, maybe driven by vanity. There is always less space for the improvisation, for that moment where gently, from the silence of your soul, like a feather with a little blow of wind, something starts flying. The mind did not save a space for your life. It has different plans. That part which is driving forgot about you. Because for this part, you are not important. It is much important who you could convince the others that you are. And nevertheless, entering in such a dangerous game brings all kind of consequences. Pressure, guilt. I have planned everything, but I didn't do. Punishment, self-punishment, judgment. It becomes a very perverse garden to visit. Because it comes from the outside. There is an external authority. Unless it comes from love. In this case, it's completely different. Then it's not forcing. Then in front of a certain repetition, of a certain mechanism of the unconscious, then the essence is looking with total clarity. For example, in the last school where I was, somebody came early in the morning and said, and before the integration told me, I'm not coming to the integration, yes, because I just came. And in this moment, I look at him like, and so in that second, he just realized, that it was just a way, that the mind was trying to stay out. And the eye was like, if you want to stay out because you want to stay out. At least do it because you don't want to come. But don't tell me, please, that it's about the fact that you cannot. Let's say that it happened inside me. I want to go to a place, and all of a sudden, I look at this, I'm like, what is it that I want to do? Do I really want to do? So I decide something different. This is not forcing anymore. This is a redirecting. Because one could misunderstand the same characters that support us to go in all the uncomfortable situations where we have no power, they are there to receive all the information from a corrupted point of view. This is sometimes what is happening with life, for example. Sometimes things happen in life and they are really bringing under discussion my own compass. Wake up in the morning, there was a plan, and something else comes and the mystery knocks at your door. Then resistance, feeling, is there behind? What is behind this element coming to me? And that's when the dance is open. That's when life is calling you to have a clear trip in the unknown. And it's really when the unknown is coming that the same character of the seeker is very afraid of the unknown. He needs to have planned it all because his only plan is to remain a seeker. The plan of the self-abuser using everything to abuse oneself is to go on abusing, is not to lose control. The mystery is not for you. You're gonna get lost anyways. Because your framework is shit. Because you're stupid. The mystery is not for you. Life is not for you. Playing is not for you. Having fun is not for you. You can just have fun to escape from some feelings. But really, opening to the mystery is not for you. This is why we don't force ourselves to do anything. The no method that we are expressing in this meeting, in this masterclass, the no method is a framework. It is a gift that we can use to see. We can read it, we can smile about it, seeing how we are seeing ourselves inside this framework. It's a self-location tool. It's not a Bible. Just instead of playing football, surely a framework like this can reach certain very deep core. It can become wisdom, but the framework is just a framework. And so we actually have spaces where always more students, they come to learn this framework. And they come in contact with the disciples of life who have this framework more or less running inside their veins. A framework is innocent, as everything else. Then you need to see what the mind wants to do with this. And the skeptic, the critic, the seeker is also innocent. He's just completely blind because he's too busy to take actions before having connected to oneself. Next time that you are hearing these voices inside you, it will be your choice if to give the power to everything what inside you doesn't want you to live your life with the excuse that either that you are not ready, either that you cannot, either that it's way too complicated and the world is dangerous. So when these voices are going to come to you, you will have the choice. If looking at them, thanking them, and say goodbye, and go anyways in your path, reminding yourself that that it's not important if you get lost. Because if you can get lost, you can still stand up, breathe, and start feeling yourself. Sometimes in your life, you will have the seeker leading your life. And one day when you surrender, something else is going to lead your life. Something much wiser, something connected, something that you can remember. This something that you can remember is going to receive everything with a yes. Not using in order not to force and not choosing. Because before being able to say yes, first of all, you need to be empowered. If you're not empowered yet, first, it's important that you learn that you can allow yourself to say no everywhere. And when you can say no everywhere, then you can already see what happens when you say yes. But this can be as an experiment. Please, that part that say something right, something wrong, don't play with it. We don't play with these things. We use them for our own experience. When we taste hot water, we taste cold water. We learn the difference. We learn the tool. We create a framework with this. The part inside you is not paralyzed. Your essence cannot be paralyzed because your essence knows that the truth is not found in the map, but in the courage to walk the territory, imperfect and magnificent as it is. And if you want to walk in a territory, you rather not being a servant. You rather walk the territory for yourself or for your choice, for your commitment. You rather live this experience not to please anybody. Thank you very much for being here tonight together. Yes, this masterclass at this moment is over. If you like to ask any questions, to share, then you can do that. You can use with pleasure the text. Fantastic question by Jasmine. What is the difference between being in resistance to something that is for you and something being an authentic no? Well, I mean, surely there is a big difference, Jasmine. It's a huge difference. I can speak about the difference, but I mean, the difference is that when you are in resistance to something that is for you, you have an advantage by not doing it. But when something is an authentic no, then you have just a resistance to say no. The resistance with something that is for you comes from true power of eluding myself that this thing is not for me. The resistance to something that is for you is you denying your own framework with a critic, with a what if, actually. But when I resist something being an authentic no, I am connecting to lack. I am not empowered in this moment. when I'm stripping away myself this right to say no, to me it feels much more different. Anyway, this is a fantastic area of observation, no? I mean, especially Jasmine is a very smart girl. It's a very smart facilitator, brilliant intelligence. She can have a lot of fun to differentiate sweet bypasses with, excess education in denying her big, strong no. It's very beautiful to connect with the imagination of her being in such a process. Lucas, Norway. So wonderful visit. Lucas, what is how to have the power to say no? A situation where a yes comes automatically. I don't know. These are things that is really important to experience oneself. But you know what the wonderful news is that when you are going to say yes automatically 1,000,000 times, maybe then you get such a frustration there that you are ready for the first atomic bomb, and then you're going to say no. And when you will taste the taste of this no, you may fall in love. Not because one falls in love with the no and not with the yes, but because when there is an automatic yes and there is no power to say no, then the no has such a taste as a medicine, is so irresistible. The possibility to say no. As children, they are becoming so empowered at a certain point, they say, no, no, no. They are tasting this true power, until the parents say, how do you dare to say no? You are selfish, you are terrible. And then the children, what? That's the whole power that I have in front of my parent, which I love so much. And now I feel myself, and now, okay, let's not get too much into that. Otherwise, we need to speak more. Maraike, I was deeply in process. I am the free fall. I'm in great belief for me, and I'm not lost, but even lost, falling without a destiny showing up, and life is happening to me, and I let it happen. Sometimes I'm really uncertain and doubting, but in my depth, I'm fully in trust. Yes, yes, yes. And then, either we are in a great leap or we are lost. Because, being lost is also comfortable sometimes, telling oneself that one is lost. Sometimes we can use the fact that we are lost to give ourselves the permission to do something crazy or to do something completely, I'm so lost. I'm going to do something. It's because I'm lost. I drink 2 bottles of tequila and so, I did this thing. I was so lost. Imagine who was driving the car. Imagine who was driving you. A human being is absolutely spectacular in finding excuses to justify this freedom. Better with the justification than not at all. How do you trust the true essence of what we are? Love, abundance, worth. If you don't know this feeling, if you are drowning in other thoughts, well, it is absolutely possible not to know this feeling because the mind is expert in forgetting it. But under this layer of clouds, there is the light of the sun. Love is pulling us in directions and in condition where we can experience it. Our retreat our retreats are one of those places that we used to remember. Are the critique and the solution mutually exclusive? Can they exist in the same time? Absolutely. They can exist in the same time, depending which one you are going to follow. I mean, they exist in the same time. So the territorium is free from interpretation. Well, the territory is the territory. Look at this, that's a territory. That, how can you know, I mean, this you can interpret, okay, but then you use a framework. But the territory, it's pure skin, the territory. You can interpret everything. The observer needs a purity in the eyes, needs a disidentified observation, pure glance, not to get stuck in the interpretation. In our school, we are actually in the great leap lately. So we are in this wonderful moment where we are building this airplane. We have an airplane that will fly one day, and we are just going around all the space inside just to see if there is a little defect in the airplane, just to see if there is a little hole. We are sealing each little hole, preparing for the great takeoff. In the moment we are getting deep in language, with an academy of the power of the use of language, because it's one of the necessary localization tool in order to distinguish with absolute precision the territory from the map and from the observer. So it's a moment where we are using very precise tool. The Academy of Language is one of the most incredible, precious framework that I ever came in contact with. And it's something that you can learn in the schools, of course. The Academy of Language, Marco, it is a part of our school. So are eligible all the people that went to more than 3 retreats. And of course, it is a space where you need to speak with your assessor. Then this assessor will speak to some of the teachers, and we will evaluate the possibility for the person to come to this space, because that's a bit a space for life students, for disciples, but not disciples of a man, not disciple of a master, disciples of life. In the second masterclass, I was talking about this extensively. Yes, it is a space where we create the possibility for the dismantlement of the mind of the seeker, of that structure that is giving away power. From seeker to disciple. That's a wonderful process. Many different philosophy, they talk about the same thing. The system of Taro, for example, is also bringing the disciples to the seeker to the disciples. Is there a difference between the Academy of Language, the conscious school cycle? Yes, the school cycle is the container. And then there are, the school cycle, it's a container. Either is a retreat or a school cycle. And within the school cycle, you may have different subjects. Then you have the medicine subjects, you have integration subjects, then you have practice subjects that is like not theoric, is really applied, no? Where we see supervision, people trying out their own magic, like Hogwarts. And all of those teachers just, seeing, what is happening. And then you have Conscious School is a space similar to this masterclass that I was giving tonight, of course, which is something really that is bringing you somewhere, sometimes very, very special. So the Conscious School, it's one of the subjects that we share in the school. The minimum barrier to entry is 3 retreats. Of course, then come all type of people, and somebody is basically already a facilitator with 20-year experience in healing. I mean, we need to talk about each particular case, because in the first 3 retreats that you are coming to normally, or sometimes more, sometimes less, it's normal that the focus is inside. You come in a new world, you start experiencing, you look outside, but maybe you are really concerned in the inside. Then in a certain point, there is a moment where, okay, you can elevate your glance. And in the moment you elevate your glance, then you start seeing the group process. Then you start connecting. The moment that you elevate your glance is the moment where you should start the school. Not before, because it could be too soon, so many information about the field, when actually there is so much concentration in oneself. There is the risk that you come to the school and you will be hearing things that are a bit out of grasp. And it's a pity, because you may burn the possibility of finding such an incredible possibility like the school cycle that we offer. And so this is why we are very, let's say, calm with this. Better you take one more retreat than rushing. And so it's important that you speak with your assessor if you have a doubt, if you have questions. Yes. We have schools in this moment in a few places. I'm very much in Istanbul and in Hamburg, of course, where I live here in this house. So yes, just find out, have a chat with the assessors, and then inform yourself. The very nice event that we have next week, I mean, we have a wonderful retreat where it's actually Halloween. So we have also Allerzelen, yeah. Academy of Language is also in Italy. I cannot swear. Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes. And this is something that you need to ask to the coordinator of Italy. Well, I wish you then a wonderful evening. It was a very pleasant time for me. I saw very wonderful faces. And yes, we are going to see each other soon. Not soon, but in a couple of months. I think I will be giving another evenings. Yes, so I wish you a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend. If you like to contact us and share the way you felt, please do it. Don't let yourself, persuade that we are busy. Sometimes we are very busy, but we are reading. And sooner or later, I'm talking about myself, sooner or later we do respond. Yes, so the messages, the question, the curiosity are very well received. Yes. So thank you one more time. I wish you a beautiful evening. And yes, we keep in touch. Thank you. Good evening.